you need to really soak in this last year, because, this will be the last, these are some of the last times you guys, will be going to dinner together, or you'll go to church together, or you'll go on vacation together. And we've been but even vacation's been a little bit like people come in and they leave early or whatever it is. So, but it was cool I feel like, for me at least, to begin to know, okay, pay attention to this year, because and I think maybe that is the heaviest thing. Like, it's never going to be the same.
Created on purpose and for purpose.
Hey, welcome back to the Daron and Earlewine Podcast. Little different today. We're changing the title of the podcast for the next 6, 7, 8. We'll see how many episodes we get out of this recording. Calling it the Earlewine Podcast, because we're bringing in the whole family for this conversation. So, Julie Earlewine, my wife. Welcome back, Julie.
Hello.
It's so good to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
We want to just thank your agent and all of your talent, crew for signing the contract, for letting you come back. Unfortunately for me, fortunately for you, every episode that we have you on outpaces our podcast downloads by a large sum. So glad you're back, and we're going to have all the boys with us in this conversation.
That is correct. That is what I hear.
You excited about that?
Yeah.
I am too. I'm excited to hear what they...
Yeah, that would be cool.
Some questions that we've got to ask them that would just be interesting just to see their take. Because our focus for this whole series is going to be... We're like in a kind of a interesting, challenging... Probably a lot of adjectives we could bring, season of life where we've had a son, our oldest son, Cole, go to college. He's going to do his junior year. We're literally weeks away from our middle son, Ty, moving away for college, and he's going all the way to Arizona. And then starting at basically September 1st, we will just have one kid at home, which has happened a lot quicker than I think I was ready for emotionally. It just seemed like it happened pretty quick. Would you concur?
I would definitely concur.
I think it's funny because it is such. I actually get annoyed when cliches become real. Like, when you're having young kids, everybody's like, "Oh, don't blink." That's actually a good country song, but like it goes so fast.
Soak it all in. It kind of already is a country song.
I just said it's a country song.
You said it would be a good country song.
No, I think I said it would be. I think it is. I believe. Let's check the tape. Coop, check the tape. No, it is a country song, and I think it has. I think we've talked about it before. Like, you look at old pictures of the kids, and it's like when they were 6 and 4 and 2. It seems like a lifetime ago, but yet you see a picture and you're like, oh no, that just felt like that was just like a little bit ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do know what you mean. It went really fast.
It goes really fast, and then all of a sudden you're just clicking off months, clicking off years, and then all of a sudden you're in the senior year of your oldest kid and all the preparation. And for us, it's like then we kind of get 1 year of catching our breath, and then boom, we're right back in a senior year. So I thought what would be cool is for us to have this conversation, because we talk about finding purpose, finding peace, finding passion, and stepping into God's plan for our life on the podcast. And I think for any of us that are parents, one of our greatest goals, sometimes maybe greatest anxieties, is like, are we raising these kids in a way where they can step into their own ownership of faith? Are we raising these kids where they can leave our house and succeed and thrive? Are we helping them take steps to find their sense of purpose? And so we're right in the midst of it. I'm not sure I know we haven't done it all right. We're seeing some...
Definitely not done it all right.
Some good things and some bad things. Yeah. And so I thought, let's have a conversation, not just between you and me saying, hey, here's what we think, but let's get the real and let the boys actually speak into them stepping into that, and also kind of what does it feel like to be the oldest kid in Lee? What does it feel like to be the middle kid? What does it feel like to be the youngest kid? So we're going to shoot these episodes. We'll have Cole join us for an episode. We'll have Ty join us for an episode, and we will have Knox, the youngest, join us, and then we'll do a whole family convo. So I'm going to ask you more questions in this episode, and I'm sure I can't help but interject some of my own thoughts because I love to talk. But I'll hit you with a question, and then you can be the star for a while, Jules. So we're transitioning. We went from a family of 5 to a family of 4. Now we're just weeks away from being a family of 3, at least in the 4 walls of this house.
These questions are really terrible 3 weeks after graduation, but thanks for dragging me into this.
Yeah, we record it now to get the raw emotion. We got to get the real.
Thank you so much. I apologize in advance for my extreme emotions.
You're welcome. So, first question: we've gone through this transition, and I guess anything would apply. Has it been maybe from when we went from 5 to 4, or now when we're right on the precipice of going from 4 to 3? Like, what is something that maybe caught you off guard emotionally in the process?
All of it? No, just kidding. I think if I look back and I realize that going from 5 to 4, I think people keep saying to me, oh my goodness, how are you ever going to let Ty go all the way to Arizona? It's so far. Yeah. Like, are you going to be okay? Are you going to survive? And I was actually recently talking to a friend of mine at a baseball game, and we were talking about, because her son will be a senior this coming year, and we were talking, and I said, honestly, I think the hardest part that I wasn't prepared for is that really, at the end of the day, it's when your nucleus changes. So when Cole left and went to college, the nucleus changed. And there were some really, really hard parts about that. But then as we went through the process, I learned that there were a lot of beautiful parts about it. But I think that the thing that really shocked me is I didn't really realize how heavy it would feel to me to not regularly have all 5 of us together. And now, when all 5 of us are together, it feels the most whole and the most safe and the most joyful to me. Yeah.
I remember a conversation with Brent, my best friend since 1997. And I think that I'm bringing this up because I think it's so key of how important being in community with other people are, whether they're in your life stage or just in front of you or maybe behind you. But I remember they had a daughter that was a year older than Cole. And I can remember him sitting me down and saying hey, exactly what you just said.
Sorry.
What?
Knox just screamed in the basement. Maybe we wish he was leaving.
Was that him?
Yes.
Anyway. Where's the question about telling your 14-year-old he can't scream at video games while you're recording a podcast? That didn't make the list.
Anyway.
Weird. Okay. Anyway.
Sorry.
Brent sat me down and he said, hey, listen, that kind of the same point you made of the nucleus changing and saying you need to really soak in this last year because, this will be these are some of the last times you guys, we'll be going to dinner together or you'll go to church together or you'll go on vacation together. And we've been able to, but even vacation's been a little bit like people come in and they leave early or whatever it is. So, but it was cool I feel like for me at least to begin to know, okay, pay attention to this year because and I think maybe that is the heaviest thing. Like it's never going to be the same.
Yes. That is definitely the heaviest thing of all.
Yeah.
For me.
And for 18 years, it was like, this was our deal. It was us 5. This is the Earlewine family.
For 15 years. Or actually 13 years. Because we didn't have Knox 18 years ago.
Oh. Yeah, that is the math.
Math.
I'm just saying Cole, I guess, had been there for 18 years. But yes, the 5 of us did happen.
But
for
yes,
yes,
what makes up our family of 5, which is who we are and how we feel complete, it changes.
Yeah. One of the cool things I think, though, is when we go through transitions, God does surprise us with we shouldn't be surprised by his goodness, but sometimes we're surprised by, I want to say blessings, but it feels weird to say, like, it's like, when one of your kid leaves the house, you get this blessing. I don't mean that, but there have been, I think, some positives or some realizations when we've gone from 4 to 5 from 5 to 4 of us. Mm-hmm. What's been for you something that was kind of maybe an unexpected blessing or perspective that you weren't, thinking that you would realize?
I think I may have mentioned this in our previous parenting podcast, but I think one of the things that was really cool is, each of your 3 children are so uniquely different, and it allowed with one going and experiencing their life independently more and thriving. Cole was thriving in his environment, making new friends, sometimes calling the place that he lives in another town home. And I would get irritated because I'm like, that is not home. That is a dorm or the Grape up in Muncie. But I realized that it gave space to Ty and Knox that they didn't have before, just because there's only 2 of them instead of 3 of them. So they created a new space to see the 2 of them get especially close. they've had the past 2 years where it has been because of the uniqueness of the way Cole goes to school and because he plays a sport at college, he doesn't ever come home for long periods of time ever. So for the past, 2 full years, it has only been Ty and Knox majority of the time. And I think it's created a really unique bond. And it is probably one of the things with Ty leaving that I think is the heaviest on my heart is because I know how close and how much they enjoy being together to anticipate that part being gone from Knox, especially with him being so distant. But yeah, I think that part was allowing the other two to find a space or have a little bit more room in the house just because there's more room because there's less people.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe we did mention it in the last last series we did, but it's been I think one of the bigger blessings for me is, this winter I took Ty through the spiritual DNA course and got to sit down and, and have lunch or dinner or coffee with him and go through his results. And to be able to get, a much clearer picture on who God has created him to be, but then with his older brother gone and it just being him, like I felt like I began to see Ty for who he is in a much clearer way. And I don't think we do this intentionally, but I think it's difficult as parents not to kind of compare your kids. I mean, especially for our kids, they're all doing the same sports stuff. And then, you've got grades, you've got sports, whatever the different, demarcations of life and whatever is, and maybe I'm sure it's possible. For me, it's always possible not to at least somewhat measure them against each other or whatever. And what it was, one of the blessings for me is like to not have to be like, see them in order, but now all of a sudden Ty is the oldest, boy in the house, and just being able to like, I'm not comparing him, I'm not contrasting him, like I'm just seeing him for who he is, and like a newfound respect and admiration, and just like, wow, like you are an amazing human being, and like to watch you step into it. And I think for me it became a lot clearer, and we've talked about it, like, we could have guessed that Ty maybe was a type 9 on the Enneagram, but like going through testing, seeing that and kind of putting that together with the rest of his spiritual DNA, it was like, oh, wow, I can see the massive contribution you have made for the past, 18 years to our home of making it work so well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do know very well.
You want to elaborate on that?
I mean, they're all uniquely different. And I think a lot of it really isn't even about leaving. It's about them maturing. So it's like, yeah, they are leaving, but I think a lot of it really comes down to the fact that as one leaves, the others are maturing. So it's really not totally the leaving as much as they're becoming who they were born to be, and they're able to be old enough and wise enough to step into that. So I think that's probably been really what's been happening, is that Ty is matured into the man of God that he's going to be. And Cole was ahead of him doing that. And then we've watched him live that out. All the things we hoped he would live out in his college setting, that's still the main part of his life. And then Knox is just really blessed to have had two go before him that are doing it so well. And so I just think really, yes, it's about them leaving, but it's really, at the end of the day, more about them maturing. And they need me less every day, but they still always need me. And I think that it really is more about that, for me. I'm realizing that they need to go and they need to be where they are. It's easier the second time around. There's no question about that. Like, at least I know what to expect, or I know how to anticipate it. And Ty's actually going to college, and then he will come home for an entire summer, most of the summers, unlike his brother, who did not ever come home, really. And so I think that there's peace in that. So I don't know. I think now I'm less scared about the change, because it does go back to the fact that once the nucleus shifted and it broke off a little bit, then it feels different. So, and I notice now that, like, when it can be all five of us, they want it to be all five of us. Yeah. And I'm thankful for that part too.
So in our home, and different marriages function a little bit different. Who's the main nurture? It's not a biological role. I don't think. Sometimes the husband is more the nurturing type. Sometimes the wife is.
It's unique to your story.
Yeah, and in our home, you are the more nurturing type, and so a lot of that falls on you in that maybe traditional mom role or whatever society wise. What's been some of the things for you, having to moving through, you gave them life, you sustained their life, you've brought all this nurture and stepping into like you said, they don't need me the same
as
way.
Much.
The same way. They don't need me the same way.
Sure.
What's that like for a mom?
I would say it's really difficult. I mean, I think if all my really good mom friends were sitting here, they would say, this is stupid. This is stupid that you get the best thing you've ever been given for all these years, and then all of a sudden they go off into the vast universe to do whatever they're going to do with their lives. Yeah. I think it really, or whoever the main nurturer is, maybe it's harder on them. I think it's, they are your... they're like your identity for so long. Or, we always joke, have I gone to the bathroom by myself in 18 years? I mean, in 18 years I have. But you know what I'm saying? Whenever they were little, I couldn't even, go to the bathroom if somebody wasn't standing there. So you go through this major shift from them needing you for everything to needing you for less things. And I think what I've also realized, though, throughout the years is that God did that. He did it very eloquently. They fully needed that me when they were inside of me, and God was forming them inside of me. And then every single day from the time they came into this earth, they needed me a little less than the day before. And so I think the beauty of the way God did that is that he slowly actually prepares your heart for this. Because what they need you at 1, they don't need you as much at 2. And what they need you at 2, they don't need you as much at 5. And 5, they don't need as many things as they need at 10. And so it is a beautiful thing that God did to us, that he didn't just give us everything and then take it all away. He allowed us to slowly nurture over time, and the need to be nurtured became less slowly. And I think I'm really thankful to God for that, because it's kind of the beauty of being a mom, or whatever role you play in your house. But the beauty of being a mom is that it's oh, thank you for not just, giving it to me and then taking it away. You allowed my heart to slowly be prepared, when they could, be outside by themselves for the first time, or drive for the first time, or they, would spend the night away for the first time, or they went away for a week at youth camp or whatever. You start to see it and slowly prepare your heart for it. And I'm thankful to be able to view it that way, that we were walking along, preparing ourselves for this all along. Yeah.
Well, yes, I think we were. And I think we
still doesn't mean it doesn't suck.
True. And we've had lots of conversations about it as it's been happening. But and I think you've done a phenomenal job of still being there, lots of nurture, lots of, being there when they need them, when Cole needs this or whatever. But I do think you've done a really great job of letting go.
Thank you.
But what?
Don't know if I've done a good job, but maybe I hide it really well.
Well, what's the danger of not?
There really is no danger of not.
There's no danger of not letting go of your kids.
I thought you were saying there's danger of what's the danger of letting go? Sorry.
No.
I heard that in I had a flip-flop moment.
You've done a job of letting them have that.
There's nothing good in not letting them go. I mean, it's their... This is what we do. There's some stupid meme right now about how something about doing all this for 18 years for them just to run away or whatever. I don't know. All the silly mom memes that are out there on Instagram. But there's really no good in holding on to them. And there's really no good in trying to control them. Because if the faith that I choose to walk in with the Lord is right, and I, a long time ago, realized that these boys weren't fully mine, they were the Lord's, they've got a life to live. They've got a love of their life to find. They have a career to succeed. They have a life of ministry to lead. They have people to come in contact to love. And if I hold them here in my little haven, then all of those things, they don't get to do all the things that I've been able to do. So yeah, there's really no good in holding on. It just doesn't mean it doesn't suck to let them go.
Yeah.
But we did it for this. That's what it was for them to go on and be amazing humans, which is my greatest desire, is for them to go be humans in this world that may leave it better than it currently is.
Yeah. So you've done 2 senior years as a mom. Mm-hmm. You got a chance to talk to maybe some junior moms now, that maybe a year, or maybe some sophomore moms. Like, what does a senior going into the senior year as a mom? What do they need to know?
You should quit your job because it's a full-time job. I actually had a friend who her son was graduating with Cole, but she had one a couple years prior to that graduate. And she told me, she's like, literally, it is a full-time job. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. And then I got to the end of it and I was like, wow, that felt like I had like a lot of jobs. I would say now that I've done it twice, that I preach this to Knox now that he's going into high school this year, is that take in every single second of it and don't take anything too serious and don't miss a thing. Not one thing. Like, go watch them in the student section cheer on the sport that they don't play. Like, if they're going to their school musical, go sit with them. If they want you to, like, do it all with them and be their biggest cheerleader and not a complainer. If I, just enjoy every single second of it. I had 2 seniors that had 2 completely different years, but I can say that in their 2 polar opposite senior years, I feel like I really did enjoy them both to the fullest.
Yeah.
And I think that it's such a special time. It's their year. It's so awesome.
Yeah. And I think it'll be, when we have the episodes with, each one of the boys individually, you're right. And it'd be interesting to talk about that because, for Cole, accomplishment wise was sports and friends. And it was just like, it just felt like a big party, fun stuff happening all over the place, whatever.
They just kept winning.
Yeah.
Right.
And, Ty's year his senior year was, marked really with loss. They lost 2 of their good friends. I mean, they lost their lives. And, I would talk to friends about, I'm 47, I think. In 47 years, I've never had 2 friends die in a 12-month period, and here they were, going into what's supposed to be this amazing senior year, and that's what they had to walk through. And so I'm going to be interested to hopefully Ty will allow us to talk about that a little bit of like, man, how do you walk through a senior year and deal with some of the biggest human emotions in that kind of season? You know what I mean? But I think he and I think a lot of his classmates did an amazing job with that.
Yeah, they were an exceptional group of humans.
Yeah.
They were different. It was a different experience, but I hate crying. It's so silly. But I wouldn't doubt at all in the friends that Ty has, in the faith I've seen kids in our community walk in that I had never seen before. Mm-hmm. So 2 very uniquely different stories between our children, but the beauty, fortunately and unfortunately, was written 2 totally different ways. And that is something unique about parenting because we never really know what the story is going to be.
Yeah.
And
we would, obviously I am not comparing them. Please don't hear me say what I'm not saying. For our friends that lost children this year, I am not comparing, like what I was going to say is, as parents, we wouldn't have ordered that off the menu of life for Ty. Like, hey, this is what are going to have to learn in your life to deal with your senior year. Now, like I said, I am not comparing that. Obviously, the parents that we know that went through that this year, like I'm not comparing our pain at all. I'm just saying no one would order that off the menu of life. But that is something of like you don't know, like the expectations. Oh, especially with us going in the second time. Oh, your senior year, it's going to mean this. You're going to have these kinds of experience. And then, for Ty and his class, 2 weeks, I think, before the semester starts, they're dealing with, going to their friend's funeral. And it's like, okay, this is not whatever your expectation. Now this is real life, and you guys are going to have to walk through it.
I think that it goes back to making the most of every single moment you have. And make the most of whatever the story is, whatever you've been given. I would say that Ty's class has learned to live bigger, and they've learned to live brighter, and they've learned to live bolder. And I would give anything for them to have never learned to live bigger and brighter and bolder. But I do believe his class of kids are going to be humans that make a difference and love better and live harder and more passionately. And so if you have to take something really terrible and still honor two amazing kids for the rest of their lives, this class has learned to do that.
Yeah. Hey, I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Earlewine Podcast. And as you can tell, as a family, we definitely like to talk. And so these episodes went a little bit longer than a regular episode. And so we've cut them in half. And so this will be the first half of this conversation. When we come back, we'll close the conversation out. Hope you're enjoying it. Would love to hear from you. You can always email me at Daron@DaronEarlewine.com. And please subscribe to the channel, whatever you're watching or you're listening to. I would love to have you be a part of the growing community of the podcast. And until we talk next time, just remember, God's for you, not against you. He's near you, not far away. And He's created you on purpose and for purpose. We'll see you on the second half of this episode.